I've been working through Ephesians lately, and I this morning came across that beautiful verse that says, "You did not so learn Christ." Simple verse, really caught my imagination. Paul has been going through a description of the degenerate society all around them, how their hearts are hardened and they're full of unbelief, they've turned to sensuality. And then he comes up with this extraordinary little phrase, "You did not so learn Christ." You could so easily have said, "Hey, none of that's allowed now. You've turned your back on that. Hey, come on, sort yourselves out. These are the rules now." He doesn't say that. He said, "You did not so learn Christ." It kind of reminded me of the beginning of John's Gospel, where you read of these guys have stumbled on Jesus. They're beginning to follow him by the Lake of Galilee. And Jesus turns to them, kind of catches them off guard. "What are you seeking?" And they say, "Where do you live?" And he says, "Come and see." Do you know that's the beginning of the church? Jesus saying to a handful of guys, "Come and see." And later John will write, "The life was manifested." We touched and handled. I mean, this life was lived in front of them. And John 17 tells that wonderful prayer of Jesus. I've shown them your glory. I've revealed you to them. And they're captivated by knowing Jesus. Jesus will offer people, say, "No, look, if anyone's weary, come to me. You'll find rest. I'm meek and lowly of heart. Take my yoke on you, and learn of me. Learn of me. You'll find rest for your soul." It's wonderful to know Jesus. And do you know that's the promise of the new covenant? Each one shall know him, from the least to the greatest. Even the least. It's a wonderful thing that when you first become converted, you kind of know him straight away. You didn't know him, now you know him. But in a sense, getting to know him is a life journey. Knowing more and more about him. Some people say, "I don't want to know about him, I just want to know him." Well, that doesn't make a lot of sense, really. We're not on a magical mystery tour. The more I know about him, the more I know him. I was working through Philippians before I went to Ephesians, and working through, I come to that classic passage in Philippians 2, that though he was in the form of God, he didn't count equality with God a thing to be grasped. He humbled himself, took on human form. It's amazing, the wonderful Jesus. And so Paul looks at this dreadful world style. He says, look, come on, that's not the way you learned Christ. Getting to know Jesus is at the center of everything. It's a life journey. I love singing that song, "Knowing You, Jesus." There's no greater thing. In Philippians, Paul says, I want to know him. I'm still pressing on to know him. Not only knowing him objectively, but knowing how our lives have been integrated with his. We're united with him. And here in Ephesians, Paul will say, hey, come on, you died with him. You were raised with him. Now you're in him. He's in you. Jesus says, I'm the true vine. Abide in me. Learn of me. So, beloved, let's keep learning of Jesus. That will change our values. That will change our lifestyle. God bless you through another day.